Welcome back everyone to ESL 1 Katowice. I'm pleased to say that we have a fixed game coordinator, which means our draft is about to get underway, or in fact it has got underway, and we're going to get you into that momentarily. Our upper bracket final about to begin. It's Gambit versus Team Secret, a repeat of the Group A match that the two played out at the very end of the group stage, actually, when they both qualified in the top two positions, and it was to decide who went through in first and second. Secret came out on top on that one. That's their only series meeting in history, and they are therefore 2-0 up. Right now, though, we are ready for the draft, and it is, as you said, underway, and we are going to see a first round Visage pick.
Two of the heroes of the 5 I listed earlier, just saying.
Oh, they're huge.
Huh?
You listed?
Yes, he did pick out the Nyx and the Visage.
Thank you, Paul. I'm glad someone's on my side here.
Well, no, I just listened.
Over the last two patches, they are 10-2 with immersion on the Nyx. All right. All right.
No, please continue, Alan. We're really interested.
They're 10-2 with immersion on the Nyx Assassin and 11-5 with the Hawk on the Visage. I am interested. SF is still in the pool, and they have this SF Visage strategy that they're incredibly confident on. Still, one of the big heroes, I think, for them in this series is going to be the Razor. In 4 games in this tournament with Alpha Ninja on Razor, he's gone 49, 9, and 44 in 4 games, and one of those was a loss.
All right. Thank you for those stats, Alan. So, Immersion was actually heavily recruited by Navi before this season. I think he's one of the best CIS players. If you talk to the VP guys, they've been known that this dude was going to be the real deal for quite some time. If they're going to win this game, his Nyx has to go off. I love the Pango pick, though. It's super good here because, 1, you remove all the Gravekeeper's cloak charges with your Swashbuckle. 2, you're not stunnable in your ultimate form, if I'm not mistaken, so Carapace is ignored. And you also do heavy damage to Nyx, even if he does end up stunning you. Yeah, 1/4 of that damage will be reflected to you, but the other 3/4 will be dealt. And you then slow these heroes. They don't buy BKB, they're very immobile, and the new Lucky Shot.
So the argument for Pangolier for Secret is that they have 2 players that are both playing on an elite level on that hero. So Mid-1 and Zai, both absolutely amazing. The argument against, though, is that Dahak actually employs a pretty unusual build on his Visage. He'll rush Crimson Guard on this Visage, which means that these Pangolier Swashbuckles, which would strip Gravekeeper's cloak charges against any other Visage player, they're not necessarily. You actually need to do 100 damage when Guard is active to be able to strip 1 stack of cloak.
Yeah, it's true. But that'll come online once he finishes Maelstrom.
Maybe.
It's funny, isn't it? When we get to this stage of the tournament, and also with these teams involved, those 3 opening bans from Gambit are absurd when you compare them to every other team that's playing right now.
Actually, wait a minute. Mechanically, Kyle's that true? Because with Maelstrom, the problem is that the physical and the magical count as separate instances, right?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's your domain, man.
Okay, I think mechanically
stats,
that doesn't work. But anyway.
I don't deal in facts, Alan. I'm all about the opinions because those are impossible to disprove.
Sorry, Paul. That just got stuck in my head there. That's my bad.
10 seconds remaining.
I love the opening bans from Secret, though. I would say those, if I'm looking at the 3 heroes that Gambit can build around most comfortably, I think the Bounty specifically they demonstrated is just like impossible to deal with. No one's solved that hero yet, and I don't think Puppey has either. They've never played against it. And the Chen, of course, just broken concept. Lich from Gambit, one of the Lifestealer counters. You can't disable him, but at least you can put something on the hero being targeted by a raged Lifestealer, peel some of that damage.
Wow. Second phase Coddle.
Talk about team fight.
Yeah, Coddle is I believe he's the 2nd most picked here. No, not at this event. In the patch, rather. I think Coddle's had like picks and bans, he's had like 33 of them, and I think 32 of them have been first phase at this event, if you add picks and bans together. So it's really unusual to see Coddle go through to the 2nd phase. Typically, if he makes it through the 1st phase, he's ignored altogether in these drafts.
I mean, there's just looking at this draft already for Gambit. This is it's no surprises from them overall. This is exactly what you'd expect to see Immersion, Nyx, FNG, Lich. This is them going for this Visage strap that they feel confident to do. As we said, Secret left it in the pool. Gambit are going to try it out here in this game 1. I don't think that's a bad approach. It has been something that obviously over the last few months has worked out many more times than it hasn't. and it is what they're most comfortable with. And I think that there are still very strong options for them to finish this off. They're still looking for Afterlife and Alpha Ninja's heroes. There's a lot of strong Afterlife heroes available that would benefit being a part of this. And Doom, that's again, it's a big one. This is one that they've done time and time again. And it's protecting, obviously, this last pick for Alpha Ninja. And there's already a couple of the classics that he could go for. The SF has been left in the pool that he could opt for. And as I say, in the past, he has looked to play heroes like the Queen of Pain when there's been a lack of disables. So you may expect to see something. Also, his Storm Spirit. Very strong Storm player. We're starting to see already today. Storm, that's a hero it can absolutely work out.
The concern I have is that the Gambit lineup right now is going to have a big problem with a natural desire to funnel, where they're going to be tunnel visioned onto one target. They don't have much area control. It's all about chasing down a hero, chasing down the next. You look at Secret, they can peel and then turn with a massive teamfight combination, and they still have the 2 heroes remaining to Gambit's 1. And I just fear, if I'm playing against Secret, you don't have the ability to outscale, and you don't really have the ability to team fight them. It's going to require a Doom on the Pangolier or the Lifestealer pre-Rage, and even then, yeah, you can Doom Lifestealer, but the peel from Secret.
Yeah, I think it's
pursue.
The term that I like is kind of zone control, and I've really bought into, Kyle, your argument of how you play against the Keeper on the Light. In this patch is basically you have that big AoE ability like the Phoenix Egg that you can drop on top of the Wisp, and then all of a sudden the Coddle team no longer is guaranteed control of that area. I think that's kind of what you're highlighting here, in that Gambit, they have great catch, they have great single target, they have great ability to sort of single out a particular target, but when Secret establishes control of one of these choke points, of which there are so many now on the map after 720.
All of the objectives are built on choke points.
Exactly.
And you won't beat a team like Secret by just you won't just win all your lanes and walk to a free victory. It's going to be more complicated than that. This is a big pick from Secret, though. They're having to decide now, do we put Zai on Pango? Do we put mid one on Pango? Do I just take my puppy hero? Do we pick my Yapster hero?
I think you pick your support here.
Yeah, I love the versatility.
And I wonder if it's going to be something like an Undying. Okay, no, they're going to go ahead. Is this 5 Brewmaster?
Yeah, I think so, because when it's 5 Brew, no longer does a Doom, let's say you Doom Brew. Congrats, you have killed my 5 position, right? And it's one of these heroes that Puppy actually himself brought into this scene at this 5 position. It's a great dispel against the Doom.
Good.
AoE dispels the Crimson Guard, Alan.
Exactly.
Dahak likes to rush from all units. You know, there's no other AoE offensive purge in Dota 2. And how do you deny this unless you want to Doom him?
And it's, you know what, so it is probably a 5-position brew, but it still actually keeps it open.
Correct.
That's really cool, because you can fit pick some like total FU hero like an Oracle that can save through the Doom.
But they're not last pick. I would agree with you, but I think that it to me just makes total sense that this is a 5 brew, because
I agree. I agree with your argument, but I think the added flex value is what really makes me say that brew pick is devastating.
Yep, I think this is great. Now it's just a question of, is this a mid 1 Pango? I don't think it will be. I think that you just pick a mid 1 hero here that you feel confident with.
Well, the only thing I'll say, though, your point about the AoE Dispel against the Rush Crimson is just super, super good. The only thing I'll say is that Secret now cannot ban both Razor and SF. So Alpha Ninja is going to get one of his comfort pairs.
But neither one of those heroes changes the game state or the status quo, I guess I'll say. Secret still will have area control. They'll still have the ability to outfight Gambit in choke points.
But a lot of Secret's fight is going to be reliant on starting the fight with the Will of the Wisp. I mean, there's sort of this lack of initiation. The fact that you look at Gambit, you're going to have Immersion on his Nyx Assassin. He's going to be so good at hunting down opportunities to start engagements. Whereas Secret,
Owen's right.
Who are you sending in first?
If Gambit creates this chaos, man, if Immersion can get in there on his Nyx Assassin, which is hard to do with 6-minute sentries.
Like I think this Nyx Assassin is going to cause a lot of issues for the Keeper of the Light. You're going to get to the back line. You're going to find the Coddle. You're going to be able to set up off the back of a blast. He's going to sit there. He's going to end up Spike Carapace, and it's going to be reflected.
That's a good point. That's actually kind of a good point. I don't necessarily see it in this game, but both of these teams do Drow.
Okay.
They ban that. So Drow mid is actually on the table here. I still think you go ahead and Razor. But Drow mid is on the table.
I wouldn't mind Razor. Now that you've selected a support, we know it's core brew. It changes the game state where if you can deal with the life stealer, you can limit a lot of Secret's damage output. But my concern is that Gambit still feel like it's very ultimate dependent. They're initiation reliant as well. Long fights should favor Secret just because of how much team fight they possess, because of the nature of the Pangolier hero. As expected, as you said, Alan. It's better than I expected it would be for Gambit.
I'm telling you, this is the thing, Kyle. Like, all of the individual points that you made were correct. It's just I don't think the draft was going as much against Gambit as you were making it sound. Does that make sense?
Sure.
And I actually think I would still favor Secret in this game, but I actually think relative to my prior coming in, Secret's now closer to 60-40 than they are 2-1.
I would agree. 100%. That is how I would feel as well. I just think that the win condition for Gambit has been understood since before this draft began. You sort of played into their hands in a way. You have two very squishy backline supports on Secret. Visage and Nyx can eat those alive, and then it's so simple for Doom and Razor to just negate a target each, right?
And
you
let's be real.
Link the Lifestealer, Doom the Pango, and hey, Visage, get a Grave Chill off on either of these squishies. But it just comes back to the team fight from Secret. It's so hard. How do you beating the best team in the world without being able to 5-on-5 appropriately? Yep. You need a vision advantage. You need to play faster all game. It'll be really tough.
I mean, Puppey, he's done a Puppey move. He's let Gambit have exactly what they wanted. Like, these are the five heroes that Gambit wants. There's no question about it. He didn't take anything away or force them into a position. They've got what they wanted, and they are ever so good at this. Many people, even PPD's made this mistake before against Gambit. He says, sure, you can do your Visage thing. It's all very nice and pretty, and then he's just got absolutely smashed by it. So I think Secret's taken a risk. I like what Gambit's got through here, and I think Puppey may have... Gambit can absolutely win this game. The Lion, it is that initiator, but he's going to be initiating. There's going to be an Eye of the Storm out. He's going to get hit by passives, and he's going to die. It's Gambit. They can win this game one.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much. They're convinced here on the panel, or at least Owen is convinced. Visage all the way as far as Gambit are concerned. They're going to try it again, see how they get on.
The grand finals awaits one of these two teams. Will it be Team Secret, one of the most dominant teams in this DPC season, the winners of last ESL 1, or will it be Gambit, a rising star, probably the fastest rising star in the Dota 2 universe right now? They have done amazing things recently, even just winning that Wheat Play tournament not so long ago, and have impressed pretty much everybody, I think, here at ESL 1 Katowice.
Yeah, but the last time these two teams met, it was in the groups where they played 2 games, and I think Gambit ended up maybe lasting 45 minutes between the 2 games in time combined.
Smashed.
They got absolutely destroyed. So let's see if they learned anything here, as they did get their Visage, but in return, they gave away that famed Pango mid that mid one is getting real good at, as well as the Lifestealers. The triple
that's
stun.
a great way to start Immersion. What an impale from him. That's going to be able to secure that bounty rune. We still are going to trade 2 for 2.
Oh, it sucks that they only got 2 for 2 off of that effort.
Yeah, off of such a beautiful hit. Nisha could have gone for the level 1 Rage if he really wanted to contest it. Looks like our mid matchup is not going to be into the Visage. Mid one is going to be playing against Afro Ninja's Razor. They're going to run the Visage into Nisha in his Lifestealer at bottom lane.
And I think it's just because the Visage probably doesn't pressure the Pango whatsoever, whereas at the very least you can force the Pango to use his Swashbuckle defensively. Just force him back, similar to how you would play Razor versus Puck, matchup-wise.
Yeah. And early on, the Pango, the Swashbuckle actually gets through in the first 2 levels of the Swashbuckle. The Cloak doesn't actually reduce the damage below 40.
Yeah.
So in that case, like, your 0 armor is going to be very effective for mid one to be able to pressure you.
So in this game, you can pretty much doom anybody. But who do you actually go for? Like, who would your priority target be? Because obviously, if you can get it off against the Brew, it's great, but the Lifestealer pre-rage, that's going to be one of the few ways they can actually kill him. And same thing for the Pango.
Yeah, especially with the priority that mid one's going to be having as a 2-position Pango. Just one Doom. He's already such a squishy hero naturally. It could be a very easy kill. Our top lane matchup, we could see the Doom is matched up into the Lion Brewmaster, which currently Secret is fully controlling this lane.
Yeah, and Afterlife, we get run at here.
Gonna be able to slow
quite
him
a bit of
down.
damage.
He does have that regen kicking in from the Devour. Can he actually get away from this? Looks like he should be fine. Zai is going to keep running at him. 4 more seconds, still another clap. Yapzor does not have any mana yet. 5 more mana until he has an Impale. There is going to be the clap to slow him down, and Yapzor now has the mana to be able to finish him off. That'll be your first blood. Yapzor collects it.
Easy does it. They can pressure this lane, and the same kind of pressure can't really happen, and that's the strength of the Lifestealer, is you can't really do anything about this hero. And nobody feels good about laning against them because the offensive potential just simply isn't there. So they're gonna have to try to focus on killing one of the supports. But if you notice, Puppey's just blasting, pushing the wave out so that he can try to get one of these pulls off. And I think that Gambit was aware that this was gonna happen, so they've double sentry'd. 1 sentry, 1 ward on the lane to try to make it hard for each other.
Just trying to make sure that I mean, it's one of the hardest parts of playing Dire right now, right? Is that Radiant pull that is available that you don't have the same kind of advantage in your Dire safe lane.
Yeah, and more importantly, I just don't really know what you're supposed to do in the laning phase. I guess mid lane's going to be just fine for the Razor because you can just consistently sap damage, but I just don't see how the pressure is going to come unless it comes onto the Coddle. And if Puppey's aware of that, he should be fine, which is why he's put a premium on getting his own boots first.
Yeah.
And as long as he dodges this gank attempt, they can just keep running in circles. Your Lifestealer will continue to farm. You are trading farm to the Visage, but you should be happy knowing that Brewmaster's doing very well.
And imagine Afterlife, yes, he may have died early, but now that he's got 2 levels of Devour, the regen rate starts kicking up from 3 to 8. Pretty massive increase. I'm sure he'll be able to deal with this pressure all right. If the creep equilibrium gets too far pushed forward, he can just go grab some jungle creeps, and he can man fight the Lion pretty easily. So I imagine he'll be able to get at least a bare amount of farm.
Yeah, mid one, he desperately needs to grab the rune here, and that's why he's playing around this area, potentially seeing if he can jump past, but he's going to get his damage stolen. In fact, the rune is bottom, and already you see that Immersion is on his way to get it. They should have seen him.
Very smart by Gambit, maintaining that kind of rune control against the Pango.
It's so helpful. It does ruin his game mid because now he only has 300 HP.
Look at Zai. He was trying to get to that one little spot. He could get away. Afterlife knows a different route, though. With 1 tree cut, he is going to be able to get out. Yapzor's going to try and go for the kill, but the magic stick will allow Afterlife to survive. Has a healing salve to get back up to full 2.
Yapzor's got Tranquil Boots, though, so he's going to be okay about this. As mid lane, mid one is going to ferry himself both a salve and a mango, trying to min-max it so that he doesn't have to leave the lane. And the bounty rune is going to spawn pretty soon. I wonder if he makes his way all the way up to the top to grab that rune. It'd probably be worth it for him.
It has been the pretty much mid one's directive every single 5 minute, in every single game. Goes, secures those bounty runes, maybe gets a kill on one of the side lanes, and at the very minimum, he is going to be able to fill up his bottle.
And you see that Afterlife was potentially thinking about coming in that area, but realizes that Yapzor has already grabbed the rune. He's not going to be greedy and try to secure mid one, both of them. But easy lane so far for Afro Ninjas. He's quite farmed already. Already has boots completed, double Wraithband. He's got a wand, and he has raindrops in case any sort of ganks happen.
Swashbuckle got a little lucky there as he got the silence on the Razor. Otherwise, that would have been an instant static link and a lot more damage taken. As is, Afo's only going to get a 42 still, securing decent amount of denies. A little bit surprised he hasn't gotten more, though, just because of the control that I thought the Razor would have over this lane.
And 36 is a lot.
Yeah, but only 8 denies.
And that also has to do with the fact that the Pango has just been spamming Swashbuckle to try to secure some last hit. I mean, 40 CS to 22 is not bad whatsoever. And Yapzor's gonna grab the Invis. They even scan to make sure they know where he's going, but it was kind of in an awkward position, so not too easy to guess. But I highly doubt they're able to get a kill mid. And that's why he's already making his way all the way down towards bottom. Maybe if they can find some sort of move on Dahak.
It's so interesting watching this bottom lane because the supports they're here, Yes, but they're not in experience range most of the time. Both the supports are level 2, and they've given to Hawk pretty much all of the experience in this lane. But YapzOr, he is going to come over here, trying to line up a beautiful stun. They're going to turn around on Nisha, and there it is, the 3-man stun. YapzOr, very patient, does manage to get it out now. Nisha still a bit low. Gambit chase him away with that ice armor from FNG, but can't get the kill.
Yeah, and the ice armor and the fact that they've got double stick in this bottom lane makes it a little bit hard for Secret to pick up any kills. As to Hawk, he once again is going to dodge that nuke. He himself has had a very free lane, although they haven't been able to get kills, which is unlikely. He's just been getting farm, and they want to try to get him his level 6 as soon as possible so that he can just go to Ancients and Immersion can take this lane instead, which I imagine is the plan right now. He's about to hit 6, then it doesn't really matter what your supports do.
And in turn, where does FNG end up? Does he also chill out with Immersion in this bottom lane? You want to see him somewhere else?
I think he chills out with Immersion in this bottom lane. You want to try to protect him, because I think with the ice armor, it's pretty hard for them to try to go onto Immersion.
Yeah.
As long as he's smart about how he saves his carapace.
How's Afterlife doing? He's level 5, so is going to have that Doom quite soon.
That is exactly what they're doing, by the way. They have allowed Immersion now to catch up. And I think this is a really smart move by them, because they realize they have no kill potential.
Look at this rotation. Mid1 has his ultimate. They have the Rolling Thunder as well as the Brewmaster ultimate. They're going to blow everything to make sure there's no chance of Razor getting out of here alive. Finished up the kill is Mid1. But I'm not sure how well they're really going to be able to take a tower or anything else. They do have the Storm Panda who just threw the Lich up in the air. Zai is going to try and run across, and FNG actually walks into him here. He does have the Frost Armor, but Zai has that extra damage coming in from the crit. Nice stun from Immersion. Zai easily cleaned up by Hawk and his 2 supports. Zai just gets a bit greedy there.
I just thought that he could have done a little bit more, but does get taken down easily. I don't think he knew that the Visage was just going to be camping around that area. And FNG did a very good job of baiting him up, plus Immersion came through from the lane. Like, he just got sandwiched there. There's not a lot of ways that he could have known that that was coming.
It is pretty interesting, though, like that gank, you know, they kill the Razor, they pretty much get no damage on the tower, and I'm looking at Secret, they really don't have a whole lot of ways to pressure towers in general. They can kill some stuff, they can win some fights, but none of their supports, none of their cores are really that good at hitting towers. You're going to see Immersion limp away back to his tier 1. Secret forces him out of the jungle.
I think the way that Secret has been playing lately is they don't really care if they do get any, sort of pushes going. They just want to continuously kill you. If they can apply that sort of pressure, get you scared, force you to your jungle, that's when it seems like they're most successful.
And that's why Mid1 has been looked so successful on this Pango, this Ember Spirit, low cooldown heroes that just run around and kill. That's their only job, is just to create space in that regard.
Yeah, even though they don't hit towers, they don't necessarily have to if he's just picking up kills for his team and getting everybody big. And eventually the Lifestealer will get online. Like Nisha trying to get a Midas, catch up a little bit, and once he gets the Midas Radiance, it's not going to be easy for Gambit to take fights until they get BKBs themselves.
Medallion of Courage is up for Hawk, and that'll be 3 bounty runes for Gambit.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And look at this rotation that they were trying to make on Mid1, and they've done a good job of not letting him just roam in the side lanes.
Yeah.
Like, this is when Mid1 is by far the deadliest, is when you allow him to just kind of do whatever he feels like. That's why I think this strategy of theirs allowing their Visage to just go into the jungle and hit Ancients, let FNG soak this up, you're just taking away potential targets for Mid1 to go gank.
Yeah, looking at these heroes, it just
Dire's middle tower is under
trying to gank a Doom, a Razor, a Visage, like these are all heroes that are not the easiest to run into and have just a lot of individual threat.
Yeah.
They like to be able to just sit in their lanes.
The coolest part about the strat too is that you notice that the Doom has decided to max Devour.
Yep.
And he's going for Midas, because he's trying to make up for the fact that his team's being out-farmed a little bit by not showing the lanes. And he's like, this is how I'll come back. I'll make sure that we're always in the net worth battle. And he also realizes that Secret's lineup is very slow too.
On top of that, huge incentive to be able to get to that level 15, but he is going to be gone on here. Mid1 does make the rotation up to this lane. He was biding his time, setting up this gank. Oh no, the Figure of Death came down and didn't actually finish off Afterlife. The Rolling Thunder will hit him again. They'll get that kill eventually. And Immersion, who TP'd in here, he's going to be a secondary kill. Pop the Spike Carapace, Secret waited out and finish him off. So they may not have gotten the extra damage on YapzOr's Finger of Death, but They do still get the kill, and they'll start doing some chip damage to that tower. Nisha feeling the pressure of Tahak here on that Visage. The medallion is such a huge power spike for a Visage. He's gonna rage up, eat his way through the trees, but the familiars can stay ahead of him right now. He does not have an infest, but looks like the Visage is just happy with the pressure given and has full control of the lane.
Yeah, and I really don't like that Immersion was up there in the first place.
Yeah.
There's almost no way they're going to save him. You have to be okay with the fact that your team's playing a little bit greedy. This is the trade that you've decided to make, and you sort of have to just commit to it. And Immersion's only level 4. His impact isn't really going to be felt this early on. And if you look at it, Yapsor's already level 7. I mean, Zai gave him such a free lane up at top when he went to go gank mid.
Oh, trying to catch him. Ooh, look at Zai. He moves so fast. He popped that Drunken Brawler and Phase Boots at the same time. It's like the 50-yard dash. Oh, Nisha. He's going to turn around and try and go for FNG because mid one was sitting in the back. They baited out this Lifestealer, and now they're going to be rewarded with at least a support kill. Mid one has to run interference, though, to make sure Nisha can get back. The Visage Familiars will not die here. Tanky enough thanks to that Gravekeeper's cloak.
Yeah, and even if you try to avoid it, this is what mid one does so well. Goes around the map, continues to make stuff happen, TP's mid, saves his tower. This guy just feels like he's everywhere at all times. And I'm not really sure what the counterplay for Gambit is. Because they do have this greed, but the only way that it pays off is if they're not getting ganked, killed like this, they've got to be a little bit more careful. You can't allow mid one to just kind of go crazy on the map, get free kills, open up side lanes. Which is easier said than done, because really nobody's been able to figure out how to stop that.
Now with the Javelin about to pick up the Mithril Hammer, mid one's going to have the Maelstrom. That'll allow him, I think, to finally start doing enough damage to start clearing through those Gravekeeper cloak stacks, make him a lot more effective against him, as well as a better damage dealer overall. Yeah. But they still, like, 14 minutes in, you feel like they're kind of on a timer, right? Secret? I mean, yes, the Lifestealer's going to come online, but we've already talked about how Gambit are trying to kind of outgreed them with the Midas.
I guess we'll see what happens with their Doom. I don't know how their Disable's going to work in this game as mid one gets run into, but he's actually taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I don't think he intended to clip that wall on his rollout, but he's okay. And it seems like we're just going to have like one of those really rare games where 10, 15 minutes in, the laning phase is still pretty well established. Yeah, that hasn't broken really down a whole lot.
And I think it comes down to the fact that Gambit have just jungled with this Visage, so he's not the easiest target to kill.
Yeah. I mean, both teams kind of seem happy with the game state. Secret slightly ahead in net worth, 1K.
I think Secret's a little bit happier because their support situation is a lot better.
Yeah.
This Yapsor Lion already has a point booster and he's level 8. If you compare him to the level 6 of the Nyx, the 4 position on the other side, who's just picked up an urn. I mean, Yapsor, for all intents and purposes, is more or less a 3-position player. Like we call him a 4, but realistically speaking, this guy hits a lot of creeps.
He really does. And he's trying to go for what a weird straight up axe. You think he's actually going to do that?
Yeah, I think so. I'm almost certain.
God damn, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm almost certain that he is committed. He's seen the axe in his sight. The crazy part is he knows, like, I'm probably going to get this item.
Apo gonna run into Yapsor here. The Will-O-Wisp immediately coming out. Great reaction from Puppey. That's gonna be able to slow down the Razor. Razor turns around, starts dealing some damage from Nisha. He gets away from that Stag Link and now comes back in. The Doom's gonna be laid onto him, but mid one is getting a huge swashbuckle in. Still not enough to finish off any of those heroes. FNG will die to Nisha here, who still has the Doom on him, but is still staying in the fight just because of the fact that Secret have controlled it up so beautifully. Afterlife's gonna be left up next. 3 down from Gambit. A very successful team fight for Secret.
Oh, man. They just can't fight right now. Their Doom doesn't have any items. They made the mistake of conflating net worth and the fact that he was leveled with actually having items, but so much of it is just tied into this Midas. You're not going to fight that. And you saw the problem, the Doom conundrum, where he wasn't really sure who he was supposed to Doom. Like, you want to do it on the Lifestealer because you want to get that kill, but at the same time, the Lifestealer doesn't really do anything at this point but rage and run at you.
And those those two supports. I mean, Yapzor scouting out this rotation by putting himself out there.
They get another kill.
The Will-O-Wisp immediately coming out. Yep. They got the pick off on Immersion.
The bad news for Yapzor is that he's not getting any damage stacks on his Finger of Death. But the good news is he's getting pretty close to his Aghanims.
I can't believe he's like halfway there already.
I mean,
It's
screw Blink, I
17
guess.
minutes.
And Immersion would love this kind of level in farm.
Yeah. 17 minutes in, Nisha. 1,000 gold from the Sacred Relic to build into the Midas. Or, excuse me, the Radiance. Meanwhile, what has Gambit got? We've got Hood Defiance, Yasha, building up for Afo, Afterlife. He's got to be able to finish off that Vlad's now, but other than that, until we have the Crimson Guard out from Dahak, I don't think you have that kind of clear-cut teamfight advantage for Gambit.
Yeah, I think you just have to allow Afterlife to continue to farm. I think it was a mistake for them to take that fight in the first place. Just allow your Midas and your Max Devour to kick in.
Yeah.
This is the Doom problem, is when you go this build, you can't fight. You don't have the damage, you don't have the tankiness. You just have to allow him to chill, slow down the pace of the game. The problem with doing that is it's easier said than done because Secret puts so much pressure on you that they force you to make moves that you don't necessarily want to make. This is the mid-1 problem as well, where you feel like you always have to respond to something that this guy does, and so you overcommit to mistakes like that bottom fight.
And that just makes Nisha's game easier and easier. Mech now for mid-1, starting to build into that Guardian Greaves, the big team fight potential, has his level 15 as well. How's Zai doing? Zai, Vlad's, Midas, Blink Dagger, halfway there.
They own the top 3 net worth chart. Mid-1 has somehow, again, I mean, the guy's just, one way or another, he's always at the top of the net worth, but he's also made everything happen for his team, being a part of 7 out of the 9 kills.
I love the fact they showed the stats on the pick rate and win rate for the level 15 talent for that Pangolier. A lot of people get obsessed with the 2-second shield crash, like, oh, I can do so much damage if I'm just constantly using shield crash while I'm rolling around. But the reality is, your Rolling Thunder, just being able to be a constant, obnoxious disable is far more important for you and your team.
That's your invincibility spell this game.
Yeah.
Just continue to max that out. Gambit can't really pressure unless he gets gone on with Doom first. And so the game kind of, everyone's sort of chilling here, and Secret have taken 1 tower, but...
Good play by Zai, jumping on Immersion, but immediately mid-1. Afterlife had just picked up a Blink Dagger. He'd foregone the Vlads in order to get this kind of initiation, a huge pickoff, taking away the dominating streak of mid-1, and now chasing down Zai as well. Zai is going to pop his ultimate here and turn onto the enemy. He's going to be able to get rid of some of this damage, as well as try and take out the Lich immediately. The rest of his team is swarming in. Yapzor comes in, immediately finishes off FNG. Nice Will-O-Wisp, that's going to be able to slow down the progression of Gambit here, hopefully be able to kill that Lion. A beautiful stun follow-up after that first Will-O-Wisp hit, and Zai even taking the time to snatch up that Boundary Rune. Secret getting 3 of them, because again, as you said, feeling like you have to over-rotate to deal with what mid-1 does, Nisha entirely alone in the bottom half of the map.
Yeah, and it ends up being a 1-for-1 with Nisha just getting free farm. As now he pretty much has the Radiance. I think it is flying towards him right now. Is this guy... that's just complete trust in your team and vice versa, right? Secret's like, well, we can win fights without you. Don't even bother participating. Yeah. Go finish your Radiance, and then you can fight. And this is sort of classic Secret. You don't have to pick tower hitters if you can just build leads like this anyways, because your natural net worth lead and the fact that you'll win team fights is what's going to allow you to hit towers. And I really like that they've put a premium on that in this tournament.
Afterlife, showing himself mid right now. He's the tankiest of all of them, and he's trying to kind of set up a bait scenario here. The rest of Gambit has smoked up, worked their way around. They're in between the Doom as well as the Razor and can backstab Secret wherever they end up going. Secret do manage to take that mid tower. Gambit seemed very hesitant to try and make that line of cross, in part because that Radiant Tier 1 tower is still alive.
And I feel like Gambit right now, they feel really pressured. because they know that the Lifestealer's just been farming this entire time, and they're not winning fights cap 4-on-5. So this alone has to be upsetting to them that they're not really getting anything on the map, and they're allowing tower hitters or heroes that don't necessarily hit towers very well to just kind of walk up, because now Nisha knows that he's invincible. He's inviting the Doom at this point, because it's better on him than the Pango.
Gambit eventually do manage to get that mid tower off of the smoke, but the rest of Secret TP'd into the tier 2, very quickly trying to catch up and get a pick off somewhere here, feeling like they're strong enough to take any fight. They are going to be able to jump on an FNG. Mid one goes in. Will-O-Wisp also coming out is going to be able to grab Immersion. The two supports are in danger, but the rest of Korza Gambit have backed up to the high ground. Now Afterlife is going to turn, going on to Zai here, who's been doomed up. Mid one's going to come in, try and help out, get some damage in. The Doom is so tanky, but that's when Nisha comes in, starts ripping apart the Doom. Not even going to be saved by FNG with that Frost Shield. It's not even close. He does far too much damage with that Radiance.
And if this is the problem, is if you doom him, well, the Pango's just going to heal him and they'll back him up. If you don't doom the Lion, there's too many stuns flying over the top. If you don't doom the Lifestealer, you probably just don't have the damage to kill him, because he'll always get Rage off the second time around. The Brewmaster ulti is really important too.
You just don't have the kind of AoE control that Secret does with the Will-O-Wisp and the Brewmaster being able to offer multiple disables. Same goes with the Rolling Thunder. Fight like this, though, this could be interesting simply because we do have some cooldowns.
And they've got to be careful about this, is the immediate hex out, stun
Immersion blown up, there's the finger of death, but Apple's gonna come in with his BKB, he's already stolen all of Nisha's damage, and he can turn it into Puppey. No, he's gonna stay onto Nisha as much as possible, because he knows the Coddle is already dead in the back line, though. Mid one, he's trying to tear things up, he's gone on to FNG, and will be able to finish him off with a shield crash, but he's being controlled up by Immersion as well as Afterlife. Another Swashbuckle, it's up now, but he's been stunned up. Double drop up from Dahak. That's exactly what they needed to make sure they get that core kill. Now they have to back up, though, because Nisha is still pretty healthy. His Rage Timer is running out, though, and those Visage Familiars are so tough for the Lifestealer to fight into. Dahak gonna be slowed down by Zai, but they're keeping their distance. Oh no, Immersion, he got hit right as he went for the impale. Gets blasted down by Puppey. Now Apo, without his BKB, gets ripped apart, and Afterlife can't get away from Nisha as well. Secret come back into the fight, take it, and will be able to grab Roshan.
That is such a scary proposition for them, because they look at Roshan, they see that it's at half HP, but they know we can't do anything about this. And Secret just re-engage over the top. They had ward vision established all around. They had sentries. They did a very good job of getting Nisha out of there in the first place. Puppey just must have thrown like 3 or 4 blasts in that one fight alone.
And it's funny how, like, Gambit could have walked away from that engagement, right?
Yes, you would have been okay.
That was okay.
We killed Pango.
Yeah.
That's all right. But the problem with that too, Cap, is you would give up Roshan right after. They would just reform up, they'd go in again, and they get it. So for Gambit, this has just been a game of where you feel like you're forced to make maneuvers. You can sense that you're getting behind further and further, but the scary part about playing against Team Secret when they're in this kind of form is it doesn't really feel like you have moves to make. So you're sort of just countering yourself. Like that aura alone that, oh, somebody's always farming, mid one's ganking everywhere, what are we supposed to do? It kind of just throws you off your internal rhythms.
Immersion making his way over. He is barely inside of the Sentry, so they're going to go for the Will-O-Wisp on top of him. Now, he did get off the Spike Carapace, but he's kind of stuck in no man's land, and that's going to be another Finger of Death.
That is the Aghanim's Finger of Death. Yapzor's almost level 15. Wonder if he decides to take the damage. Now he's got 3 stacks.
So he's now dealing over 1,000 damage with that Finger of Death.
Does take the GPM because he's Yapzor.
He's just greedy like that.
Yeah, now you've got the Aegis on the Lifestealer, who is already very difficult to kill, but they are very split up here. They should be careful. This is a 3-on-5.
Ooh, Affo immediately pops the BKB as they tried to get the initiation. The Visage Familiar's gonna drop. They managed to catch mid one with one of them, but he's too mobile. They don't have the kind of disables to keep him locked down.
Yeah, they had to blow the BKB too from the Razor, and that should excite Secret into maybe taking a fight here. And you know, I really want to pull for Gambit to be able to make plays, because this has to be such a frustrating way to play Dota. You're just chasing ghosts around the map. Everybody from Secret's farming. Puppey almost has a Spirit Vessel himself. And meanwhile, if you're FNG with your 1,000 net worth, no upgraded boots, Immersion just hasn't earned himself.
I just can't believe it's 11,000 gold lead already for Secret. was 15 minutes in that the game was pretty even, and we were just kind of stuck still in our laning phase, and the game just snowballed so quickly.
Maybe if they could get Zai here, but they're just a little bit out of position. They do see, with ward vision, at least they were able to catch a glimpse of the backline, as instead, they're just pinging high ground. They're saying go. Nisha probably feels really good right now.
No reason to rotate back and trying to defend that tier 2. That could lead you into a bad fight. Instead, force Gambit to come to you. Hit that high ground now. Gambit do have the high ground defense of the Frost Armor.
When he went high ground, he turned off his Radiance so that he wouldn't get Spike Carapace. He's doing it again now to make sure that there's no way for this Nyx to get in on him. He doesn't really need the damage right now.
That Frost Shield preventing a lot of damage, but it can't stay up forever. They finished off that tier 2 in the bottom lane, and the Razor is now thinking about going high ground himself, but finally Gambit realized that they have to back up here, but it may be a bit too late. That tier 3, it'll rapidly fall as soon as that Frost Shield is gone. They did save the glyph, though, for just this occasion.
And they're pinging right now onto
Oh,
that.
managed to get the stun long range on Anisha. Pull back immediately, but he got off the range. He'll start dealing some damage. Look at that Finger of Death. Now a big blast comes in and finish off the Visage Familiars as well, and a BKB was used by Dahak in that engagement.
That Lion Finger of Death is dealing so much damage. You saw FNG just go down as Nisha
tried to go for the Blink-In Centaur Stomp, a cheap
And
initiation, and he's going to be punished for it. You know Nisha's got the reaction time to be able to punish that one. Double blast, that's going to catch the Absor. Zai's not going to be controlled enough, though. Gets off that Primal Split, lifts Dahak himself up in the air, and gets the stun onto Apo, who no longer has a BKB. Immersion's just kind of like standing around with his Spike Carapace, hoping he can stop Secret from killing his core, but it's just not possible. And Secret, don't look for more. They're going to focus on the melee racks here. Very disciplined play by Secret.
Yeah, 28 minutes in. With the Aegis just going high ground, without a care in the world, they're so far ahead at this point. Gambit, Immersion trying to do whatever he can, saving the Spike Carapace. There is the Doom available, and he's trying to go on Zai, but blinks out. Had already used his split. He's feeling desperate now, not really sure who to go on.
Frost Shield Blast. Okay, that's going to be able to keep Immersion alive. Yes, and Nisha is going to be controlled up. He still has the Aegis. Apo's going to come in, start stealing away some of his damage. He needs to be a little bit faster, though. Nice. An instant Infest Blink out.
Just the communication, good team fight overall. Zai says, hop in me, I can blink us out. No hesitation on that. One thing done after another. And that was the double buyback committed for that, too. This Doom is really confused. He's looking around for targets to Doom, but he just doesn't really know who to go on. His issue right now is that there's been no successful team fights for him to draw data off of. Right. It's not like he can say, okay, I doomed this guy and we finally won a team fight. I guess the one time it was somewhat successful is when they went for the Pango, but the Lifestealer is way too big to ignore at this point too.
Yeah. And that fight was like more of a pick-off than anything, right?
Yes.
This
I think
is
in a straight 5-on-5, it's hard to tell who you're supposed to go for.
20% evasion for the Lifestealer, who is about to complete an AC. Obviously, most of Gambit's damage, you look at the Visage and this Razor, a lot of physical damage. This just means Nisha's not only going to hit harder, he doesn't have to worry about these cores. Nice setup, great stun. Out Force Staff and Swashbuckle away. Finger of Death, double hit now. Zai's going to be able to get into this one with a Counter Blast over the top. That'll finish off one core. Rolling Thunder will bounce the Nyx Assassin out of this game as well. Apo trying to drain as much damage away from that Pango, but Nisha's sitting on top of him. We go over to Dahak, who has that BKB activated, and Zai, even though he's doomed, he's still running at the Visage. He just doesn't really give a damn. Now the Doom wears out. He's not going to be able to stop Visage from getting away. Gambit as a whole won out of this game one, calling the GG. What a dominant display by Secret. Blitz, we may not hit that hour mark for this series.
Yeah, for context, FNG said, I hope we at least get to play an hour against Secret. And with the way that Secret's looking, I don't know if they're going to get there. And this was... there's not a lot to analyze. They sort of just got stomped from start to finish. Didn't really feel like they had any sort of chance. I can't remember a single team fight where it looked like they were even going to vaguely win. You saw the Doom, by the way. Didn't really know. He's like, whatever. Throw it out on the Brewmaster, but the Brew's so tanky at that point.
Gambit, I mean, they went back to the Visage again. Blitz, are you feeling like maybe this Visage Secret already have all the answers? I mean, Kyle was saying this. He said, you know, the script has already been played out on Gambit, at least as far as Secret's concerned. They already know how to beat this team. Do you feel like Gambit need to try and find something else?
I don't know. This is the captain's dilemma, because when you have a strategy that you've been so successful with, how do you just give it up? If it's been working against every team, this is clearly your best strat. And this is also something that happens to Puppey sometimes. Like when people say, well, why didn't Puppey just ban it? Because when he can do stuff like that, and you can dominate one of their better strategies, it opens up the draft, it ruins the enemy team's confidence, it makes you look so good, it makes everyone on your team feel good too. Like, guys, if they couldn't beat us with that, like, what are they gonna throw at us?
What does Gambit need to do to finish off Secret? For that, we'll turn to Redeye and the rest of our very brilliant analysts.
Thank you very much. Yes, the brilliant analysts are going to have to come up with something else as far as Gambit are concerned. They're definitely going to have to come up with something else, because that Visage just didn't work, did it? Gambit tried what they knew best. Secret, though, they had the answers yet again. For the third consecutive game here, it is our one Katowice. We're back at our desk once more. Let's get some thoughts now from Kyle, Nahaz, and OD Pixel. Alan, scripted, call it what you want, but we all said, everyone had a moment during the pre-game. We had plenty of time, of course, to talk about it. That if they go this way and it doesn't work, what else do they have?
Yeah, I think a lot of it really did boil down to that Brewmaster pick, but let's talk about the early game first, because the mid lane went okay for Gambit. At the 6-minute mark, we had 40 CS on the Razor compared to 22 of the Pango. Looked like Affinity was going to have a really good game. They're able to convert a kill on him, though, and the side lanes were disastrous for Gambit. 12 minutes in that top lane, Yapsor and Zai are both level 7 after a kill on the Doom. Immersion was level 4 at that point and just never had the impact in the game that we'd seen from him during this great 10-2 run that they had over 12 games on it next.
Yeah, I'd like to make the point that Visage specifically, say the way they can exploit the weakness of Secret's squishy supports, but Coddle 6-second blind makes Visage and his birds useless for quite some time. And in addition, you look at the net worth, they were at like 5K each. The Gambit supports are at like 2K, 1K, because the Secret supports always find farm. Part of that's because mid one is so happy to rotate, as was Zai. They're playing these XP-dependent core heroes. They only need Nisha. He's going minus Radiance. They've got late game secured. They know they're not on a clock. And as soon as Pango and Brew have reached that level, they're the strongest heroes on the map. They can fight whenever they want when these abilities are active. And the Gambit heroes need to farm. They need more time to be online to actually try and win these engagements. Didn't happen. Secret capitalized.
Yeah,
Secret win.
Yeah, Secret's team fight, of course, was the sort of big sort of crux that Gambit struggled to go against. There was that point where they had the 5, they started to push, but every single time Puppey was just placing down these beautiful will-o-wisps, it made the team fights impossible. The amount of time that you sort of had to wait for Secret to finish is they're like, hey, here's a will-o-wisp, here's a primal split, here's a rolling thunder. It was just too much for them to sort of sustain against, despite Gambit doing the standard, getting these little items together, these auras to try and build up to make their 5-man strong. It just got blown apart by these early team fights and early moves, and as Alan said, it was a really poor game for both of Gambit's supports. Immersion and FNG, they hardly got to play Dota this game.
And that last highlight you could really see, I mean, this Visage, he was scared off the Crimson Guard Rush by the Brew pick, which is why I thought the Brew pick, why I thought the Brew pick ended up being so impactful. As a result, he went back to this more standard HOD medallion build, and you saw 16 minutes in, they showed a heat map of Dahak's movement on the Visage. He had not left that bottom lane and dire secondary jungle area, and this is one of the more active Visage players that we've seen in Pro Dota, and you saw in that last highlight, Gambit tried to bring the team down there. They felt like they had to make plays behind that, but by that point, the team fight of Secret is fully online, and you just can't contest.
Yeah, they didn't have the damage to utilize their ability to negate cores of Secret, because Pango's not really good. You can doom a target, right, but the problem is that if it's not Brew, he's going to split. If it's not Coddle, he's going to ult. If it's not Lifestealer or Pango, like, they're just going to charge in. They have no threat. You can't actually deal damage to these heroes effectively until you get like a full link off or you have a significant advantage in itemization. And that's just not going to happen. Secret are not going to lose lanes like other teams that Gambit's played in the games I've seen previously.
And another thing that Secret's not going to lose is the ward battles, which is where you run this risk when you're picking this first pick Nyx Assassin. You saw that game Immersion, he could hardly do anything. For a start, obviously he suffered in levels. It wasn't a quick hit on the level 6 where he was able to start to move. But by the time he was moving around, sentries were up and down the map. There's just the ward control from Secret that game made it impossible for Immersion to ever catch Secret by surprise.
What I'm hearing from our 3 panel members is that Gambit basically had no chance. Let's see if we can check in with the fourth member of our broadcasting crew and see if he had any hope for Gambit.
Well, they've had a lot of success with Visage in the past. The downside is that there was a patch that came out right before this tournament where Visage's birds got their damage reduced from 30 to 20 at the first level. That maybe hurt him a lot. Now, normally what Gambit does is they try to secure the Visage, and by doing that, they committed 3 heroes. That way, they could keep the lifesteal a little bit down on farm and make sure that the supports were able to get something a little bit later. But the downside was that the min matchup went pretty good, but yeah, it did not go so well for Doom. Here's an example of him dying in one of these early fights. It's about the 11-minute mark, so he's been a little bit behind in terms of levels at this point, but mid one, of course, rotating around. They're happy to dive this guy. But in the meantime, the other heroes on the map for Gambit can't really do that much about defending. Immersion does show up, but he's a little under-leveled because he's been in a tri-lane. Now, one of the ways that Gambit did try to mitigate this is by rotating the Visage out as soon as you hit level 6. Here's the 7-minute mark. As soon as he hits 6, he pops his ulti, he gets onto the Ancients, and then he lets somebody else take the lane. But here's that damage nerf that we're talking about. If these bats are doing 66% of the damage that they were a week ago, he's going to kill these Ancients much slower. He's not going to get as many levels, and then when they end up pushing later on, he's not going to have the same power spike, which collides with some of those issues like Nahaz pointed out with the Brewmaster countering his normal item builds. Plus, they're up against a Cuddle. They can push his creeps. He loses his neutral here. They rotate heroes over without smoke, so it's much more obvious when the fight's about to start, and then Secret can collapse with everything. Every single Secret hero showed up to this bottom fight at 15 minutes, whereas there was still one missing on Gambit's side. It was the Nyx Assassin who was top, probably trying to catch up in levels, or maybe trying to push a lane out. This made the fight really hard, and if we compare this to something like OG's playstyle, which is this big group up and push fast lineup, this is like 3 minutes too late, and it's just not nearly strong enough.
Stuff, yes, showing exactly why sometimes showing up late to a fight is not a good thing for your team. Gambit certainly finding out on the hard truth of this one that Secret had their number yet again. Kyle, do they obviously reset now, but that's the 3rd game in a row now they've lost to Secret.
Yep.
They understand, I would imagine by now, FNG goes, okay, we can't do that again. That's not going to work. They've got to come up with something completely different now.
In a way, yes. I think it's just tough to do that on the fly.
Yeah.
I'm from watching that game, I feel like Secret abuses heroes that only need experience to become powerful, whereas other teams, they get caught at times where they'll be in scenarios where all 3 of their cores need items before they can be relevant. Secret love these huge team fight controllers. Diapster can run around with Tranquil Boots. If he's level 6, he's going to have massive implications and influence in a team fight. Same with Brew, same with Enigma, same with all of these big controllers.
So that was like one of the better panel points that we've heard in a while. Ask yourself why, after Secret stomped everybody at the CQ Major, the most significant global change in the patch was an increase in the amount of experience needed to hit levels 8, 9, and 10. This is exactly what Kyle's saying, is that they are able to take advantage of those early experience-based power spikes, and they understand all of a sudden you get this Brewmaster Lion lane with the Brewmaster taking away your Visage's favorite Iron build and the Brewmaster Lion against your solo Doom that just completely, it feels like it takes you out of the game. And it's, you look at that and you go, wait a minute, we felt like we were winning 2 out of the 3 lanes. But Secret is able to leverage the impact of the lane that they had the advantage in on the game state.
Okay, I'm going to get more from all of our panel members, of course, as we head towards another break. But when we come back, a chance for Gambit to reset during that break and have a chat and see how they're going to come back in game number 2, because that's where we're heading next. Secret versus Gambit.
Some damage from Nisha. He gets away from that Zag Link and now comes back in. The Doom's going to be laid onto him, but mid one is getting a huge swashbuckle. Still not enough to finish off any of those heroes. FNG will die to Nisha here, who still has the Doom on him, but is still staying in the fight just because of the fact that Secret have controlled it up so beautifully. Afterlife's going to be left up next. 3 down from Gambit. A very successful team fight for Secret.